Let's now talk about Q and R principle, which are also related to new Gricean pragmatics. Q principle in simple terms is the quantity principle, and which is also found in traditional pragmatics of Grice, where we believe in saying as much as possible to convey a certain information. Almost a similar notion is found in new Gricean pragmatics, where it's more pervasive and inclusive of Gricean maxims. So quantity principle is one of the principles which govern our communicative behavior and also the implications based on our communication. Q principle is based on the epithet like make your contribution sufficient. That means say as much as you can to convey a certain message. The Q principle is assumed to subsume the first principle of quantity of Grice, and also its first and second principles or principles of manner maxim. The Q principle enjoins a speaker to maximize the amount of information needed. He should say as much as possible in order to convey a complete information, and he should not compromise on the use of words. Rather, he should try to say as much as possible, because he should always keep in mind that information should be conveyed completely so that the hearer or the listener can understand it properly. It is therefore described as a lower bounding principle also, similar to I principle. In comparison, R principle is known as relation principle, and it is one of the principles which also govern our communicative behavior. It believes in making our communicative contribution necessary, and also say no more than what you must. So you should say only that much and in a manner which is required, instead of saying too much or in the manners which are not required. And it is also associated or coupled with Q principles, because you should also take in mind that when you are dealing with economy of the ways or the effort in saying something, you may not say as little that your hearer or listener would not be able to understand. In Horn's work, the R principle is intended to supersede Grice's second maxim of quantity, and also perhaps his maxim of relation and his third and fourth maxims of manner. So you could read this R principle in relation to the maxims of communication proposed by Grice. R principle enjoins the speaker to keep in mind the amount of information, and in this regard, he should minimize the amount of linguistic information or material uttered to convey a certain information. So he should keep a check on what he says instead of saying whatever he likes. Rather, he should be careful while uttering things, and also the ways of uttering things, so that the reader gets only the relevant information in a relevant manner. Therefore, it may be known as upper bounding, which is in contrast to I or Q principle. It's an upper bounding implicature principle. The violation of this principle is postulated to be responsible for some implicatures which the words of a speaker doesn't convey. If you are following an R principle and you say something based on this principle, your hearer or listener might understand certain meanings which you actually didn't say, or your words do not convey. For example, if Mary says, I broke a finger yesterday, So it implicates that she actually broke her own finger yesterday, though she doesn't say that she broke her own finger. But when she said that I broke a finger yesterday, that actually implicates or implies that she broke her own finger. So we get more information than the actual word actually conveyed. This is how Q and R principle work in New Gricean implicature.